Hey everybody, in this video, I want to go over the last four slides in this PowerPoint under week 2, Introduction to Digital Marketing. This is a link to a PowerPoint file that's uploaded via OneDrive. Also, in addition to watching this video, please ensure that you watch these other two videos related to our topic for the week, which is an introduction to digital marketing, and then the whole idea of consumer behavior. So we have this video about neuromarketing, the new science of consumer decisions. All right, so let's get to what I want to talk about in this video. So again, that's the PowerPoint here, week 2, introduction to digital marketing. So if you click on that, that should take you to this PowerPoint file. And of course, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, starting with slide number 1, an introduction to digital marketing. By the way, as a side note, this PowerPoint presentation, except for the last 4 slides, are additional information that are related to the topic of digital marketing, an introduction to that, strategy, and consumer behavior. So check out all this information right here. I'm not going to say much more except maybe one or two more things. I would recommend that you check out, let's see if I can find it right here, The Long Tail of Marketing, this book right here. It's an awesome concept. And first time I read about it back in my MBA days, 15, 14 years ago. Whoa, okay. I was like, whoa, this is an amazing concept. And so I definitely recommend taking a look at this book. And this is the link right here. And if you kind of hover over it, you can see that it's a link to Amazon. So you can see that takes you to a link to purchase it via Amazon if you want to. And then the other concept that I thought is interesting is this idea of search versus browse. So check that out. All right, finally, let's get to what I want to talk about in this video, like focus on. And these are highlights from chapters 1 and 2 of our textbook. These are my, as I put on here, personal picks from the chapter readings that I thought were interesting enough to include in this presentation. As we begin our journey into digital marketing and all the different activities that I have planned for you this semester, it's good to go back to the idea of trying to figure out, like, what is marketing? And at this point, many of you, well, there's a couple of different possibilities, right? Like many of you have probably just recently taken a marketing principles or principles of marketing class, depending on what it's called, depending on what university you go to. That's kind of one of the fundamentals there, right? Like if we're going to study about digital marketing, well, first let's back up and say, well, what is marketing? And there's a lot of definitions out there. And certainly there are many aspects to marketing. And so I don't want to oversimplify. I do want to just talk about two aspects that are pretty fundamental to the idea of what marketing is. And that's what I put on here. This first bullet point, delivering value to satisfy the needs of a target market at a profit. That's from your chapter 1 reading in this textbook, our digital marketing textbook. And if you think about it, that pretty much sums up what a lot of us are doing, whether that's on an individual basis or if you're a sole proprietor or if you're a huge corporation, regardless of whether or not you have a marketing department or you have hired somebody to be your publicist, there's going to be a marketing function that takes care of that, to where you present or communicate your value to a target market so that you can satisfy that target market's needs, but also be profitable for yourself. So think about that like right now as a student, or perhaps you're also a full-time employee somewhere, or you want to be employed somewhere else when you finish your degree at Athens State or wherever it is you're working on your 4-year degree or whatever. You're wanting to show that by going to college and completing your marketing degree that you have value, right? So not only in what you will learn and will have learned through your career in higher education, but it's also about showing your employer that you're able to commit to a goal and see it through till the end, like when you graduate. Because in many ways, right, that's what getting a college degree is. It's not 100% always just about learning, like in our case, like in this class, marketing or accounting or whatever it is you're majoring in. It's not just about that. It's certainly important, right? Because you need to know how to do your job wherever you end up that's related to your major. But it's also about just that grit, right? Like being able to, and problem solving. You're able to go jump through all the hoops that it takes to complete what we call a bachelor's degree, associate's degree, master's degree, whatever it is that you're working on. Like, just think about this class, for example. You are starting a new semester with me. Perhaps it's your second time around, second class with me, or third. And so, yeah, you're familiar with me and how I do my classes, but perhaps you're not. Like, maybe this is your first semester with me and your first week you're just trying to figure out what it is that you have to do, what my expectations are. If you write a paper, what's that going to be like, and so on. So lots of hoops to jump through. All right, so that's that first bullet point. And then the second bullet point, another way to think of marketing is it's about influencing others to take action. So going back to that example of you being a student or an employee and you're wanting to show your value to your current employer or your future employer to hire you, right? So you're influencing them to take action. And that all comes down to how you market yourself. And digital marketing would just be, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, just taking advantage of information that we could put out there using internet enabled devices. And regardless of whether you do it through digital marketing or traditional marketing, this bullet point right here, the goal is to provide value equal to or greater than the cost of the product to the consumer. So again, there's that idea of value. If your employer hires you or if a customer buys your product at a particular cost, in the end, what's the value, right? Like, is it going to be worth more than what you're paying? All right, so I'll let you, that silence was for dramatic effect, really. So let's move on to the next point. Before being able to market your product or service, you need to have an idea of what you want to achieve or what problem you want to solve. And then understand the context in which you and your competitors are operating in. So, really, that whole bullet point right there, that idea is just about if you're going to create something in digital marketing, whatever, like in this class or whatever project you're working on in the real world, before you go out and create an ad, create a brochure, do something in social media, these are two things that you need to figure out first, right? What do you want to, well, three, I guess. What do you want to, well, if you say or, what do you want to achieve or what problem you want to solve? And then you have to understand your situation. So that's where that whole SWOT analysis comes in: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. That's why for many marketing classes, that's always where we start, where we figure out, okay, where are we at right now? So then once you know where you're at and where you want to go, then you'll kind of have an idea of how to present that information in your marketing strategy. And that leads me to my next point. Strategy is about using your strengths as well as the context in which you are operating to your advantage. So it's always about knowing where you're at and where you want to go. All right, next bullet or next slide. What is digital marketing? So I already kind of touched on this a few minutes ago, right? Digital marketing versus traditional marketing, as our the authors of our textbook stated, or is it? I was trying to remember. Do we have more than one author? Well, anyway, our textbook, digital marketing is just it's really no different than traditional marketing. It's just marketing that uses the power of the internet, right? We have all these devices that can present our information that way, and everything is done through the internet versus traditional, where we might go to a newspaper, something printed, or radio, or television. And then all the other bullet points right there are related to that idea. Consumers can explore information using their internet enabled devices, and then marketers can connect these consumers via the same devices. So that's basically what I just said is, you put out information out there as a marketer, consumers find it. And that leads me to the last bullet point there. There's a lot of possibilities because the digital sphere is almost completely measurable and the audience can be segmented precisely. Like you can be, like, say, social media. I know this is one of the things I used to do at the marketing agency where I worked, where we had a particular customer and we were using Facebook at the time to do a Facebook ad. And based on people's interests, like, oh, I'm trying to remember this product. It was, I know we were trying to target women or mothers, parents, uh, from whatever age to whatever age. And there's a way to segment the market, right? Like I could say this ad should show up on a person's feed if they meet these particular criteria. That's what I mean by you can be really precise. Like only those people will see this because the others, they're not going to be as interested. So there's no reason for them. And there's no reason for me as an organization to have to pay for that. So be thinking about that compared to traditional marketing, right? Where it was about putting an ad on and television, for example, and not really being able to target that well. Like you just put it out there and hope that the right people see it. Or you put it in a newspaper, and I'm sorry, I keep getting emails while I'm recording this. That's what that sound is. So yeah, you put it in a newspaper or a magazine and hope that the right people see it. Well, no, with digital marketing, you can be pretty precise. And then everything's completely or almost completely measurable. Everything you do online, that can be tracked. The websites you visit, how long you stay there, what you look at, and so on. And so I put this graphic right here where you can see two people trying to listen in and a door and to see what the people are saying behind closed doors. And what that person behind the closed door is saying is, I'm thinking about buying, and then whatever, right? Dot, dot, dot. So those two people listening in, you see the Facebook logo on there, and then you see Google. So that represents big tech, right? Trying to listen in, trying to see what it is that makes us tick. Like they know so much about us, right? And it's kind of funny because every time I want to start shopping or want more information about something, I just kind of say it out loud as a joke, but it's not really a joke, right? Because eventually it will show up on my social media feed like ads for a certain thing. So if I say, oh, I want to buy a new pair of pants, well, next thing I know, I get like on my Facebook or Instagram or whatever, Twitter, I get ads on like these companies wanting to sell me pants. So as a marketing person, I don't mind that. I mean, that's the reason why I even say it is because I know, oh, I want to solve a problem. I need a pair of pants. Well, those who can give me a solution, I will be likely to buy from them, right? So that's kind of one way to look at it. All right, last slide I want to talk about in this video, understanding customer behavior. So I think chapter 2 is so amazing with all that information about customer behavior. When you start getting into psychology and things like that, that's just really fascinating. And when you think about marketing, it's really as much art as it is science, because we're dealing with people. Yeah, there's the science of these are the statistics, this is what should work, but in the end, we're dealing with people and we're not that predictable. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different nuances, right, to our behavior. So let's see, what did I put here? Understanding customer behavior. Instead of making people want stuff, successful organizations are focused on making stuff people want. So as that kind of relates to what I said a minute or two ago, right? If an organization is right there when I need them, like that information, and I have a problem I want to solve and they're presenting it to me, then I'm more likely to just go with them because I'm like, oh yeah, you can solve my problems. You have my attention. And speaking of attention, our textbook talks about the attention economy. Your customer is distracted and has many things vying for their attention. So just think about yourself, right? Just think about all the messages that you're getting in your various devices, whether that's your email or if you're listening to a podcast, there might be advertisements on there. If you're surfing the internet and going through different websites, you might see ads pop up on the left or the right or the bottom or at the top. If you're going through your social media feed, there's ads over there. So lots of places trying to get your attention. And the last item I want to talk about related to this whole idea of motivation that I really want you to pay attention to and think about is understanding motivation. Find the right one to influence your target audience to take action. And there are two different types of motivations. There's extrinsic and then intrinsic. So extrinsic would be those that people do it because they want the reward, or people do something because they don't want to be punished or they don't want to feel bad for not doing something. And examples of marketing tactics to motivate people to take action would be the idea of scarcity. If you put on there for a limited time, or we have a limited quantity if you buy now. Like, I know I was recently trying to buy a printer online and there's already a shortage anyway, at least from what I could tell. That was the case a couple of weeks ago. So I'm recording this August 18, 2022, and like every time I looked at one and found one, it's either sold out, or when I finally found one, it would say only one or two left. So, of course, that scarcity right there makes me think, oh, I better buy from this company because there's only one left. And if I don't buy it now, I'm not going to have another opportunity. So that's an idea right there, right? Like a tactic that marketers like to use. But here's the thing, since I'm in marketing, I know about these Jedi tricks. Like, you can't use these tricks on me, marketing people. Yeah, you can tell me there's only one left, but is there really? Like, or how important is it really? Like, how hot of a commodity is this? If I come back tomorrow, will it still be there? Well, guess what? It was still there when I came back a week later. There was still only one left. So that's how that works with extrinsic rewards. And then there's loyalty programs. Think about the places you like to frequent that have that. Well, you get a reward, right? The more you come, the more likely you can build up points, and then you can get something else like a free drink or a free meal or whatever. All right, the other motivation is intrinsic motivation. Things that we do because it feels good, or well, I guess feels bad. That could be a motivation. Or what I mean by that is right here, fear. As a marketing person, you might get people to take action because you want customers to think about their fears, and then you can present them the solution to that fear, right? Like, when you're looking for a job, for example, or when an organization is recruiting candidates to work for their organization, they offer security by giving them insurance, right? All sorts of insurance: life insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, vision insurance. Let's Think about like commercial I see a lot on TV is like just since we're on the topic of insurance, like insurance. Like what if there was a tornado or something breaks or your house is on fire or you get into an accident? Well, think about your product or service, in this case, insurance policy. Yeah, that's the product, that's the service, an insurance policy. But in the end, what you're offering and what will motivate your buyers to move to buy your product is that sense of security. Like they fear what could happen if they don't have your product. So then they would buy it. So, like insurance, if they don't have insurance, then they will not be able to replace the things that are important to them, right? So does that make sense? Yeah, I hope so. So anyway, that's what chapters 1 and 2 are all about: our introduction to digital marketing, strategy, and consumer behavior. Thank you for listening to my information here, to my ramblings and so on. I will catch you all in another video.